tseba le se le qetile ne ke kopa re qale program fela ke tla utlwa ka lona ka Sexhosa imbongi ayinqandwa motho a re ne ke tsang ha thijwe o tshwana le ya lebohang fela ne ke re haebane le se le qetile le haebane le na le item indicate le na le item kapa ke lona ba tlo binang pina ya botjhaba na haebane e le lona ba tlo binang pina ya botjhaba ke ya leboha ha ke dumedise baeti kaofela ba teng kwano ha ke dumedise batho kaofela ba hlomphehileng ba teng kwano ha ke dumedise le ba malapa a mahlasipa ha ke dumedise le ba phutheho ka ho fapana bona ka mantswe a mang all protocol observed. Before re rapela hobane anthem ke pina ya botjhaba ke thapelo e ngotswe ke Enoch Sontonga e ngotswe ke bo Josias Khumete ke tsela rona o rapela pele re rapela ke tlo kopa re behe mo premier wa rona dithapelong bophelo ha bo botle ona la ka ditso ba teng kwano ha khona ho ba teng so pina ena ya botjhaba e tla ba karolo ya thapelo eo re isang ho Ramasedi hore a re bolokele mo premier ona le covid ena o thweng ke ya nako e telele ha e fole ka pelenyana so ka mantswe a mang ke re ho lona ha re meheng dithapelong over to the choir. Ha khwaere e ntse e tukisa ha khwaere e ntse e tukisa le botjhaba bo ntse boema ke tlo kopa le majoro wa rona wa Sedibeng mme Lerato a ba sa itukisisa ho tlotla ka pele. Mema Majoro ke kopa o bosong ka sebaka mme wa ka.
Ke a leboha motsamaisi wa mosebetsi MMC Tsotetsi ke rata ho dumedisa ka hare ho rona our MEC of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, Member Lihlophe, le bo MEC ba teng ka hare ho rona, Executive Mayor ya Mfuleni Local Municipality, Ntate Khulumane Support Group, batswadi ba ka, ke a le dumedisa hoseng ha letsatsi la kajeko. Re lebohe Ramasedi hore na re le bone, re tlo celebrate-ang le lona ka tseko. The survivors of the massacre, the community leaders, activists, civic organization, and members of the media community ya Sedibeng kaofela. Dumelang. Motsamaisi wa mosebetsi, this year marks the 62nd anniversary of Sharpeville massacre, the brutal shooting of peaceful protesters marching against oppressive laws and demanding for free movement. The wound is not healing and still bleeding to date. We shall never forget. The 69 Sharpeville residents were inhumanly shot and killed. Some were left wounded, others running, trying to save their lives. Their despair on that sad day brought us the freedom we enjoy, and we are here today. We are gathered in remembrance of our brave leaders who said demise gave us the freedom of movement, safety and tolerance. Hoba to ba Sedibeng, the survivors and victims of Sharpeville shooting, we are here to pay homage to our heroes and heroines of 21st March 1960. Their blood and sacrifice remain priceless to date. Their lives inspired the life and commitment of selfless and the brave activism like Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, who said before his execution, I quote, "My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom. Tell my people that I love them, they must continue to fight." I close quote. MEC, Majoro wa Mfuleni, batho ba Sedibeng, what is our mission to date? What is it that gives us sleepless nights, and how best do we honor the fallen heroes and heroines who today we stand on their shoulders and enjoy their bravery and selflessness? We are in these positions because of the sacrifice those people that they make during those days. Ke rata ho tjho ho community ya Sedibeng, ha ntse re plana letsatsi lena la kajeko, re kopane le mahlasipa a rona tsatsing la maobane when we were also celebrating and commemorating this day. Ke rate ho leboha haholo Phakama Uthethe le Val Foundation ka se se editseng di-commitments tse ba di entseng for mahlasipa a rona. I wish what the Val Foundation e entseng e ka re le di other NGO hore community ha re ikemeleng re thusaneng ka bo rona. La re fihla ho government re be se re government re kopa lona le etse 1 2 3 4 5. Mahlasipa a rona ha jwale ra tseba hore na Phakama Uthethe ba committee le di-tende tse 100 hore the survivors le di-families tseo ba lo ahelwa matlo mo no plekeng yono. A re itshapele matsoho. Re se ba se entseng le through Val Foundation ba bang ha ba kope hore na as community ha re ikemeleng re kgone ho iketsetsa ka bo rona, re be le se leng sa rona before re ya kae, but at least as community re kgoneng hore na re thusaneng re bona na re ntshetsa maphelo a rona ho ya pele jwang. The purpose of this commemoration, as said, is a reminder that it's not yet Uhuru. However, we should always not beat ourselves up as we endeavor to do more, to deliver on the promises we made to the community of this region, especially Sharpeville. As government and leaders, we must be bothered by non-delivery of services. Le mmuso wa nationally le province re etsa ka hohle hohle re tsholo ra re this 6 administration majoro re ke se tsu theme ya rona e fele batho ba rona ka hara valley ba ntse ba phela ka suwa, batho ba rona ka valley ba ntse ba phela ka hara matlakala e re wa bonang ka hara community ya rona. This administration we are committing ourselves and re tlo etsa tseo di etsahale re sebedisana le mmuso e meng se ke tshole MEC tsa moruo ka hare ho motse wa valley batjha ba rona ha ba sebetse ke tseo re di committee really the 3 spheres of government to make sure that batho ba rona ba sebetsa ditshebeletso ba di thola va le kgutlele seemong sa yona se ne re setse ba ile ka sona. Ka mantswe ao ke rata ho tjho ntate motsamaiso wa mosebetsi, ke a le amohela kaofela mona monumenteng ha re tlo celebrate letsatsi lena la kajeko. Ke a leboha.
Thank you very much, Me Majoro, Lerato Hamaloka, MMC, on Tshwarele. I guess I will introduce. Renale MMC, Mbali Hlope, kopa ba o eme ba o bone mme. Wa sports, culture and arts. Yeah. Ke ntse phoso haholo ha ntse ke tjho jwalo la ntse ke itukisisa ho ke tlo kopa hore choir e fane ka lehlaso e be re kena mokgahlelong o latelang ke leka ho ba business minded re tsamaye ka pelenyana ka mokgwa re ka kgonang ka teng choir ha ntse e itukisisa ho tla kwano ke tla kopa di-remark tsa yena MMC Mbali Hlope abasantsa at member of executive committee as keys ke tlo kopa hore ha ntse le itukisa jwalo MEC Mbali Hlope abasa tla ka pele a nka sebaka le ntwe e luzile
Program Director, Mpegu Executive Mayor, and both the mayors, they are attached. Siyabonga Choir. You've been able to bring the mood in this house. This is the talent that we have in here in Sidibeng, and we must be able to celebrate it. Executive Mayor, both the mayor of the district and the local, MMCs here with us today, families of our heroes and heroines, ladies and gentlemen, Igama Umbali Hlophe, I'm the MEC for Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation. I stand here today to speak on behalf of the Premier. Premier Wethu cannot be with us namhlanje. A program director yethu has indicated that he's got long COVID. So angithi ngoba siyazi ukuthi sonke masiphathwe COVID yasigulisa. So Premier is with us through us. And so we are here to represent him. Today we commemorate our heroes and heroines. I was speaking to the MMC earlier that we like to make the mistake of saying today is a celebration. Ngesintu sethu, we don't celebrate umuntu eshonile. We commemorate them. So we are here to commemorate our fallen soldiers, heroes and heroines, young and old, who sacrificed their lives for this freedom that we have today. Ubaba Xaye, who's in the office of the Premier, was saying earlier that after so many years, it's the first time that it rains on this day. The last time it rained was on the day that they lost their lives. It's quite symbolic. So on that unfortunate day, after the brutal killings that had taken place, it was the rain that came out to wash the blood away. So we must remember them on this day. And as it rains today, we must be washed in their blood. And what do we mean by that? That we must remember the lives that they lost. In the acts, in our own acts and how we treat each other, we must remember the lives that they lost. Today, MMC, this day is important because it's celebrated by many organizations, many political organizations, because it is an important day to all of us. But what we must never do is to use this day to fight each other. Because today's history is a common history of all of us. And thina njengabantu, we must be able to stand together, appreciating the different roles that everybody has played, but importantly, appreciate what we must hold hands to make sure that the future that we are to build from the sacrifices of that generation must be a common and a united action towards building a democratic South Africa that will be prosperous and where thina sonke can be truly liberated. And not just liberated in terms of being able to vote. True liberation is economic in nature. And so it is important that as we remember our fallen soldiers, we remember ukuthi balwelani. What did they lose their lives for? It is for me and you to live in a better South Africa. So how do we practicalize this? Because we sit here as an MEC, as mayors, as MMCs, and so forth and so forth. NGOs, members of society. How do we work together to make sure that we realize not just the political freedom, but the economic freedom that we ought to see? A province here too, and I know that when the Premier was to be here, part of what he would have spoken to are the plans that we have for this place. And those plans are important because uPremier wethu indicates ukuthi while ama-metros wethu, which is Joburg, Ekurhuleni, and Tshwane, are doing well, a provincial government must be able to come into Sedibeng and West Rand and make sure that we uplift it so that they can be able to be like the metros. And so the Premier has indicated to all of us, ukuthi imali yethu, budget yethu of the different departments, a large amount of it we must redirect to Sedibeng and West Rand. And so, as the Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, I was saying to the mayor earlier that part of the work we seek to do here is how we utilize a department here to bring about economic liberation. Abaningi benu bayayazi Vilakazi Street, yes, Orlando. We want to recreate Vilakazi Street la eSharpeville. And it's important we do that work because then it revives the township economy. Wonke umuntu osebenzayo imisebenzi yase township abane indawo whether ukunda abantu inwele, whether uthengisa ukudla, whether you are in the arts, you are a performer, we must be able to make sure the same way that we do it eVilakazi Street. Nonke sincedise ukuthi nani we revive this heritage route yethu yaseSharpeville. And it's important we do that. Because we don't want to celebrate our heroes and heroines only on this day. We must be able to celebrate them on every other day. And the best way to celebrate them is to show them that their lives did not die in vain. So we must bring about freedom. Because they fought hard for us to enjoy this freedom. But if freedom yet cannot be political, our freedom must be economic. So by reviving the heritage route, eSharpeville, we begin to honor them and make sure ukuthi abantu bethu can be able to benefit from that heritage route. And that is important that we do so. So we will be working and coming back together with MEC Way Economic Development. uPremier already puts us in the various areas, and as I indicated, he has said to us ukuthi imali yethu yama department must be focused on Sedibeng and West Rand. And so we will be doing that. But also what worries us is that our national days wethu, like this day today, are not honored by many in South Africa. In fact, whatever national day we have is seen as a bright day by many. Abantu do not wake up early in the morning to remember and honor what the day is about. They use it as a day to either spend with their family, their friends, to go out and have a maprai. Part of the work that we do as a department is to ensure that we raise the consciousness of society. And days like this must assist us to do that. Because for the younger generation, when they see today, they must think, what does Human Rights Day mean? And now they must be able to know who are the people who were part of the Sharpeville massacre that gave birth to a Human Rights Day. So it is important that we continue to tell these stories and we remember significant days like today so that their meaning does not get lost. And the reason why that is important is because when you want to make sure society does not end up falling into the same mistakes that were made in the past, you do that through celebrating the trials and tribulations we have gone through so that future generations do not make the same mistake. And this is critical, and that is why, Mayor, we continue to celebrate days like this, so that as a nation, in our own collective memory, we never forget today and our heroes and heroines. Which brings me to my next point, that not only do we want to celebrate them today, but our department has taken a conscious decision to say, as part of transforming our heritage landscape, and transforming Gauteng as it is. We don't want to see only statues of apartheid and colonial architects. We must be able to transform our heritage landscape, which means the statues that we are going to put up are going to be celebrated, not statues of Abu Paul Kruger and all other racists who the department is embarking on that work. And what we have said we are going to do with the statues of those architects who killed and massacred a number of our people, approach. To say some of them we want to take them and we're going to work together with the Apartheid Museum to make these statues. They made them big for a reason. So that when, as umuntu omnyama, whenever you pass that statue of Paul Kruger, you look up at it and be reminded of how small and insignificant you are. So we are going to take them down. But part of the work that we are further going to do is that in their replacing is to put up true heroes and heroines of this nation that we ought to celebrate. And part of those individuals is to remember our Sharpeville heroes and heroines. So throughout the province, we will be taking up this project of putting up statues with. But what we said and what we indicated to the Minister was that some of these apartheid statues we will keep up, some. But next to the statue, we are going to put a placard to call them statues of disgrace, so that people are of apartheid. And we must be able to write their real history. Ukuthi here is Jan van Riebeeck, or here is Paul Kruger, and this is what they did. So that when a young child goes past that statue, they must know ukuthi this was the face of everything that is wrong and everything that we must never be. So it is important that we begin to teach each other, and that is why we say we have taken a two-pronged approach when it comes to the statues. But we certainly will be coming and making sure that we're putting up a lot of these statues, able to celebrate our true heroes and heroines. And it's important as part of that. Human Rights Day is very important. And abantu base-Sharpeville know that more than anybody else. And we must work together to make sure that even in our libraries, because libraries are also part of our portfolio, we have indicated what we want to see emerging authors, Black African authors in particular, to start writing our stories. Asibhali njengabantu abamnyama. And it's truly unfortunate. So we want to, as a department, make sure that we increase writing, so that in all the different libraries that are there, emalokishini wethu, makune library eSharpeville or eAtteridgeville, and so forth and so forth, there must be books about that township in that library, so that abantwana can know about where they come from and where they stay. We further said that we are not going to call our libraries after a place anymore. We want to celebrate the heroes and heroines of that area and call the library after them, so that people must begin to know. A library cannot be called after the hero or a heroine from that area. And there must be books about the heroes and heroines of that space. So we are here about transformation. We are a young generation that has been blessed enough to be entrusted with the responsibility to come and lead. So when we come in, is to make sure that we plan for the future and we take the baton from the heroes and heroines who have died for us, and to make sure that never must their memories be lost. So silana namhlanje, nani, family, to say to you, your heroes and our heroes and heroines are not forgotten. These were your kids, these were your wives, were your partners, your sisters, your brothers. Asibakhohlwanga. Umsebenzi wethu mningi, and we will do much to make sure that they are honored. Ngiyabonga.
Dumelang hape, kopa le ntshwareleng. Everybody a batlang ho mpona ha etse appointment. Ke hulwa ka MEC, thank you very much. Ngokusibalela. Thank you very much ngespeech sakho. Indeed, Lendau I ventilate and COVID is real. In case we don't know. That thing, I'm a victim of it. I'm actually a direct victim of it. It's real. So we must not stay long here. That is why Ngzama move fast. I don't want us to stay long here. There is a request from the police that I must go and cool those people down out there. Kuthiwa abantu bami. So njoba coolisa down. I'm not going to do it. There is a leadership here. Mabahambe bayokhuluma nabo. Ngalo mazwi ngicela ukuthi MMC Setlhare Mahlasela a itukise atle a tloetsa ditebogo ho mosebetsi ona o motlo mokana e seng re o entse batswadi ba ka re a leboha ha re na mantswe a lekaneng fela history ha e bue mashano MEC o bua nnete re ne re bua le na o seng hore ena ke tshebeletso ya sehopotso ho ne hona le baetapele ba neng ba etella pele mosebetsi o nngwe whatever ene etsahala ka di 21st March le tse ding tse latelang tseo. So when we help correct history, we tlamehile re put history in the proper perspective. Khwaere ke kopa le nke sebaka le re fe lehlaso ha MMC Mahlasela a tla ka pele a tloetsa diteboho ka ntle ho teboho tseo ha ke tsebe ho di announcement re etsa jwang majoro batswadi ba rona ha ba tswa monana ba tswela ba ya hokae re lo beha malomo ke a tseba re lo beha malomo a ke tsebe hantle ke nene jwale ho ntse hona le batho ba ntseng ba sebetsa mola a ke tsebe re tlo etsa jwang taba eno kapa re ba emele ba qete kapa re ba behe ba ntse ba le mono maponesa ana tle a tlo botsa yona nthweno ntwe nka etsa mohlomong ko ya mola ho lo utlwa hore how far a day ha dikhwaere di ntse di le busy e tswela pele ka mosebetsi khwaere ke kopa o nke sebaka ene ntate Mahlasela le wena o itukise.
Greetings again. Sanibona Dumela. Ninka rata o chofela hore ke I am very new bophelong bo ba politician bo. So aga tlwaela o ema ka pela batho ke nenne ke bo. Empa tsatsing la kasheno I feel very privileged and honored hore ke be mo lore ke be ke fuwe nako ya hore ke tlo fana ka vote of thanks. O bua nnete ke feel ska prince of the city tje. Hore ke vale ai ke nako jwale. Nka rata o leboha MEC Mbali Hlophe. Siyabonga mama. Sikuzwile futhi mina ngikuzwe kakhulu ngoba ngaphansi kwakho. Yonke into ikhulumile nje sengizobatshela ukuthi bahle babhale. Siyayifuna le mali leyo. Siyabafuna nalabo bhoda laba la. Abantwana bazobazi kahle. Late lezo mazize from Cape Town ePretoria. Sizozibeka khona la. Hape nkarata o leboha Executive Mayor Lerato Maloka. Majoro rutlwile o gae. Kaofela re kgathetse ke skwala mama. Rona re le masole a re tla matha ona mo fatshe mo. Re etse hore mosebetsi o etsana. Ke ka rata o leboha hape Captain yaka direct Ndade Sipho Khatebe. Leader yaka e kgolo ke ka rata le jetsa lona batho ba valo gae. Dintho di tlo sebetsa jwale. A ba pale le rona mo re dula rutla ka lona letlalo. A re ba tlo sebetsa. Hape nka rata o leboha bo Kolomane support group. Batswadi lona le batho ba sebetsang le nna direct. Ne senze ke jwetsitse office hore ke tlamehile re tlo bana le partnership le lona hobane ntho engwe re boneng kore le hore ntho tse di etsahale spirit sa ntho e se dule se le teng ke ka baka la lona. Re ka rata le leboha. Hape re kopa ho leboha makhanselara a teng le di MMC kaofela, di dignitary kaofela. Hape ho fitisa re kopa ho leboha batho ba Sharpeville le batho ba Vale as a whole. Rona hae mona Vale re 18 moyeng. Ke a leboha. Thank you.